Alright, I'm gonna say something that sounds insane until you actually think about it. Game subscriptions didn't just change how we buy games, they're quietly changing what games get made, how long they survive, and who they're made for. Because at first, subscriptions were meant to be this gamer utopia, right? Pay a monthly fee, get a library of games, save money, discover new stuff, everybody wins. And for a while, that was true. But now, the subscription future is getting spicy, and not in a fun way, more like, why does this feel like I'm renting my own hobby? So today we're unpacking what's actually happening with Game Pass, PS Plus, Ubisoft Plus, EA Play, subscription models in general, why publishers love them, why gamers are getting subscription fatigue, and what the next few years probably looks like if this trend keeps going. And fair warning, this isn't going to be one of those subscription good or subscriptions evil videos. It's messier than that because the truth is subscriptions can be a godsend and a slow moving scam at the exact same time. Before we go deep, I want you to answer this in the comments. If you had to pick one future, which would you choose? A, $100+ games, but you own them forever, or B, $20 to $30 a month, huge library, but you own basically nothing. And don't dodge it with both. Pick one. I want to see where people land, because your answer kind of determines what you actually want gaming to become. Now, let's be honest, subscriptions were cracked. If you were broke or just tired of gambling $110 on a game that might be mid, Game Pass especially felt like a cheat code. You could jump between stuff, try games you'd never buy, and the discoverability was real. For indie games, it was like someone finally turned on the lights. But the honeymoon phase is over. And we're now in a part of the relationship where you notice your partner has a weird habit of rearranging your house and then charging you extra for it. Because subscriptions aren't designed to stay too good to be true. They're designed to get you comfortable, then gradually normalize the rent. And that brings us to the biggest controversy. If you've been gaming the last few years, you've seen it. Prices going up, tiers multiplying, features getting shuffled around, and value getting harder to judge at a glance. Microsoft, for example, reshuffled Game Pass plans and raised the cost of Ultimate to $29.99 a month in an overhaul announced October 1st, 2025. And Sony's been hiking PS Plus pricing in multiple regions too. Australia got an increase effective April 16, 2025, Essential, Extra, and Deluxe all up. EA raised EA Play and EA Play Pro prices starting May 10th, 2024. Ubisoft split and rebranded Ubisoft Plus into Premium and Classics tiers because in 2024, same general direction, more segmentation, more price anchoring. Now let's translate what tier creep actually means in normal human language. It means the cheap tier becomes annoying on purpose, features slowly moving upward, the most appealing stuff becomes ultimate, and the middle becomes this awkward, why does this even exist here? It's not always evil, sometimes it's just economics, but the end result feels the same to gamers. You used to pay one price, now you pay a price to unlock the price that used to be the price. That's why people get mad. Here's the real reason subscriptions are controversial. They aren't competing with games, they're competing with your attention and your routine. Netflix doesn't want you to watch a movie. Netflix wants you to build a habit where you don't even question the monthly charge because it's just there. Subscriptions turn games into a lifestyle product, and that changes what gets prioritized. What gets rewarded in subscription land? Long playtime, not necessarily best quality. Daily engagement, retention loops, content roadmaps, seasonal events, come back next week design. So the controversial future isn't subscriptions exist, it's that subscriptions can subtly push the entire industry towards games that behave like services, even when nobody asked for that. We're hitting the point where people look at their bank app and realize game subscription, another game subscription, online membership, expansion passes, battle passes, cosmetic stores, DLC bundles, deluxe editions that are basically just content ransom. And you're sitting there thinking, bro, I miss when I bought a game and that was the end of the conversation. Subscription fatigue is real and the industry knows it. So what do companies do when people start canceling? They don't just say, fair enough, they start doing bundles. This is where the future gets interesting and a little scary. Microsoft has already leaned into stuffing Ultimate with extra perks and partnerships, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, Classics as part of the package, etc. That's the direction one mega sub that tries to feel like too much value to quit. Because if you cancel, you're not just canceling a game library, you're canceling your cloud saves flow, your multiplayer access, your perks, your day one pipeline, whatever extra memberships they bundle in. It becomes psychologically sticky. And from the business side, that's the dream. From a gamer side, it can feel like you're being enrolled into a system instead of buying entertainment. Quick thing, if you like this kind of gaming industry but explained like a normal person breakdown, hit subscribe because this subscription stuff is not slowing down. And I swear every year it gets weirder. And also, reply to someone in the comments who picked the opposite of you. I want to see the debate, but keep it friendly. Alright, back to it. Here's what subscriptions accidentally train gamers to accept. You don't own the library, you're borrowing access. And for a lot of people, that's fine until it isn't. Because eventually, you'll have that moment where a game leaves the service. You didn't finish it, or you wanted to revisit it, or it got delisted. Or your save is now locked behind a paywall tier you downgraded from. And you go, wait, I paid for this for years and I don't have it? That's the emotional core of the controversy. Subscriptions can feel like paying forever with nothing to show for it. And yes, you could say, but you paid for the experience, not the ownership. True, but gaming isn't like a movie. A lot of games are long, replayable, comfort food hobbies people return to years later. Subscriptions are great for sampling, they're terrible for long-term preservation of your library. Day one subscription sounds like pure magic, but it raises a brutal question. Who pays for that? Because if you're a AAA publisher, a day one launch is where you normally make a massive chunk of your revenue. If a subscription replaces that, you need one of these things to happen. 1. The platform holder pays you a fat bag. 2. You monetize harder inside the game. 3. You cut risk and make safer, more predictable titles. 4. You stop doing day one unless the numbers justify it. And 5. You push people into higher tiers that fund it. So the controversial future might look like day one becomes rarer, or locked behind premium tiers, or comes with more aggressive monetization, or the service price rises until it pays for itself. And we've already seen how quickly pricing can shift when companies restructure these plans. This is the part people don't think about enough. Subscription-heavy ecosystems reward certain genres and punish others. So the likely winners, live service games because retention, roguelikes and sandbox survival crafting because hours played, multiplayer co-op because social stickiness, endless content treadmill games. Likely losers or pressured to change, short narrative games, weird experimental single-player titles, big budget one-and-done experiences, anything that doesn't farm engagement. Now, some incredible story games will still exist, but subscriptions can tilt incentives towards keep them subscribed over, make the best thing possible, and ship it. And if you're a dev, the pressure becomes make it longer, make it stickier, make it returnable. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it turns art into homework. So where does this land? I don't think subscriptions disappear. They're too valuable for platform holders, too convenient for a lot of gamers, and too good at turning casual players into paying customers. What I do think happens? Future 1. Subscriptions become game renting plus perks. Higher prices, more bundles, more tiers, more partner content stuffed inside. Future 2. Owning games makes a comeback as premium. People get fed up and go back to buying. Physical collecting raises again in certain communities. DRM-free and preservation-friendly platforms get more respect. And Future 3. The big platforms try to do both. Subscription for discovery. Buying for forever games. Discounts and subscriber buying incentives become the bridge. Honestly, this hybrid future is already happening. It just hasn't fully stabilized yet. Here's my prediction that's gonna annoy everyone. Subscriptions will get worse before they get better. Not because they're doomed, but because they're in the phase where companies are figuring out how much they can charge before people revolt. We're in the testing era. Test a price hike, watch cancellation, add perks, create a new tier, move features around, repeat. And the gamer response is going to keep splitting into 2 camps. 1. I love subscriptions. Insane value. I play heaps. 2. I'm tired of renting my hobby and paying forever. And both camps are right, depending on how you play. So yeah, the controversial future of subscriptions is basically this. If you play lots of games, jump around, love discovery, subscriptions can be amazing. If you value ownership, replay, preservation, and not being locked into monthly payments, subscriptions can feel like a slow squeeze. But the scary part isn't the subscription, it's what they push the industry to optimize for. So again, hit the comments. Would you rather own fewer games or rent access to everything? And what subscription do you think is the best value right now? And which one feels like it's getting away with murder?